get saved. Therefore, we get saved on His time schedule, not on ours. So when you got saved at 60, hey, that's the right time for you to have gotten saved. You weren't ready at 50. Because you couldn't be ready because God didn't ready you because He didn't blow His wind of grace upon you. So just be thankful you got saved, even if it's at 60.
Amen.
Hence, the timing of when we got saved is not the most important thing. The more important thing is how we live after we get saved. So point number one is grace is sovereign and literally acts on its own accord without any debts or obligations to fulfill. Second point. Number two. Number two. Grace is, I want you to understand this, uncaused. Grace is uncaused in the recipient. Its cause is wholly found in the giver. God, who is God, who is God through Jesus Christ. Amen? Let's say that together. Grace is uncaused in the recipient. Its cause is wholly found in the giver, who is God through Jesus Christ. All right. Let's kind of like break this down a little bit. Who's the recipient? We are. Amen. So if grace is uncaused in the recipient, and if we are the recipients, then this means that there's absolutely nothing we can do to cause grace to come to us and to bless us. Amen? Did you understand that? Is this too kind of like profound? If grace is uncaused in the recipient, is there anything that we can cause God to grant us grace? No, there's nothing we can do because it is uncaused in the recipient. Therefore, if we should get blessed, the cause has to only be because of God and His goodness towards us. Amen? Yes. Usually in life, there is a cause and an effect. When something happens, a result takes place. If I drop this, if I release this pen, boom, it falls to the ground. There's a cause and an effect. All right? There's a sound. When it comes to grace, when you approach grace, or better yet, when grace approaches you, there is no cause for it. There is just effect. When God blew the wind of grace upon you, it wasn't because you were good. It wasn't because you did some great things. I thought that. I thought I was a pretty nice guy. That's why I thought God came to me and He saved me. I thought, hey, you know, God can use me. He can use my personality. He can use my persuasive abilities, my salesmanship. I was selling things in the world, but now I can sell, not sell, but at least present the gospel. You know what I mean? And cause people. And I thought to understand the gospel. So I thought, hey, I would be a good asset. I'm a good catch. But if that was the reason, the flesh gets the credit. But you see, there is no cause in the recipient. He didn't save me because of anything concerning me. There's nothing that could be found in me that was good. The Bible tells us, Paul says, in my flesh there is nothing good that dwells. Total depravity, total darkness, total flesh, total contrariness against the Spirit, total enmity against God. We, outside of Jesus Christ, we're enemies of God. Why would God want to save us? It's only because of His grace. It's only because He chose us before the foundation of the world in Jesus Christ. Outside of Christ, we have no hope. So, when it comes to grace, there is no cause for it. There is just effect. In other words, there can be no cause found in you for grace coming to you. When you got saved, or when we got saved, we did nothing to cause grace to approach us. Grace just approached us. This is the nature of grace. It is uncaused in the recipient. Therefore, when grace operates in our lives, can we take any glory for the grace occurring in our lives? No. Why is that? It's because we had nothing to do to cause grace to come to us. Therefore, we can see how God is so wise in that He designed the genius of grace, not just for Him to get all the glory, but God formulated the system of grace for our protection, so that we could never touch the glory and be puffed up with pride by it. You see, God can handle the glory. Man can't. We can't handle the glory. Do you know that it would destroy us? Therefore, the only way for God to bless us without us getting prideful about it is through the genius of grace and not through the foolishness of religion, which teaches us to keep the law to receive blessings through wages. Because if you get blessings through wages, you can take the glory. You can take the credit. I worked for it. That's why you see it cannot be by the law. It cannot be by works. It cannot be by performance. Hence, the Christian life, from first to last, has to all be grace and grace alone. Amen. Or else man will self-destruct with pride. That's why trying to live by the system of the law only leads to death. Because if I touch the glory which belongs unto someone else, then that becomes a curse to me. That's why when people are really trying to strive to serve God, and they say, oh, the reason why God blessed me is because I did this, eventually a curse is going to come upon them. Therefore, it has to be by the system of grace, because grace leads us to humility, life, and light. Amen. So in summary, semi-summary, point 1, grace is sovereign and literally acts on its own accord with no debts or obligations to fulfill. That's why we say grace is not controlled by anything except God who gives it. Number 2, grace is uncaused in the recipients. Its cause is found wholly in the giver, who is God through Jesus Christ. Let me give you the third one. This is the last one I'm going to give you today. Number 3. Talking about the nature of God, the nature of grace. Grace does not place its recipients. Who's the recipients? Us. Okay? So grace